if there was a better way to collect business cards? As someone who attends many conferences and events, I'm always looking for more efficient ways to meet people. Now, my next guest, Dex Almonte, is the CEO of Common. Now, out of thousands of startups I explored at this year's Collision conference, Common was my personal favorite. Let's learn more about what exactly they do. Dex, welcome to Open Source.
Thanks for having me, Bobby. Appreciate it.
Full disclosure, Dex and I have a full-on bromance. I met him by the booth for Common at Collision, and it blew my mind. But before we get into Common, what exactly he's doing, let's talk about the general state of networking technology, just so we can set up like how you've really revolutionized this space. So, what is the current state of, let's call it, networking technology?
Yeah, so I can really break this down, I guess, into three different buckets. Let's start off with event software. So right now, when you look at event software, there's two ends of the spectrum. There's do-it-yourself event software, which is like Eventbrite, Meetup, and Luma. And then there's enterprise software, which is like your Cvents, your Brellas, your Bizabos. So when you look at do-it-yourself software right now with networking, it's more so using FOMO and trying to get people to sign up for events and networking events based on who's already going to the event. And so there isn't really an at the event networking component to it. So it's up to the organizer to really make sure that the networking event is as awesome as possible. But then when you look at enterprise software, they are heavily relying on matchmaking. And so it relies on setting up networking before an event takes place. But a lot of us don't have time to actually set up meetings and go through all that before an event takes place because we're all super busy, man. So yeah, there's nothing really there for during the event and post-event with event software. But then when you look at the other buckets, let's say with NFC tech, I kind of see this as an awesome bridge to connect in-person interactions into a permanent space. So when you look at NFC business cards like OVOU and Vice and Link, they are a physical product that allows you to essentially take an in-person interaction and move that into a permanent interaction. But it's kind of annoying when you use physical products like that because you're asking another party to actually pull something out and essentially tap a product on your phone, and it's not the most efficient experience from my understanding and all the feedback that I've been getting.
Right. Well, and you would know. I mean, this is really your space, right? But it's so okay. So let me just recap. So in a way, it sounds like it's kind of siloed, right? Like the sort of networking technology, let's call it, it's kind of like different aspects of it, but it's not cohesive. They don't really work together, right? Is that accurate?
Yeah. So like when you go to, I would say, a networking event, you have to download an app or you have to register for an event, but it's not all in one place. Like for example, the NFC tech I just mentioned, like that is not connected to the event at all. Another cool thing is like iPhone to iPhone NFC tech, where you're tapping each other's phones and you're holding the top of the phone together. But they don't have the cross-platform ability to do that with Android, and yeah, it's not cohesive. It doesn't link to the actual event itself. The one thing that does kind of link to the event, depending on the software you're using, is QR codes. And you know how it was at Collision when we were using the QR codes. It didn't work a lot of the time because there were so many people trying to get on the network that it kept freezing. So the QR codes, when you would scan them, nothing would happen.
Right. Like there's so many different challenges. Even it's funny, like you had actually taught me how to use LinkedIn because I didn't realize I had to push a button, the connect button, so then I could message them. And like, so it's interesting, right? Because there's all these different ways. Like during, I was just at TIFF and the people are scanning and trying to do all these things, and there's all these clunky ways. Nobody quite knows what's going on. But this is why I think what you're doing with Common is going to be so powerful. We're going to get into it in the next segment, but I think that you're the first person I've seen unifying all the elements, and that's why I think you're going to be a unicorn. Got Dex Almonte here on Open Source.